On a warm desert night this April, 125,000 people stood in the California desert waiting for the biggest comeback in pop music history. Another nearly 6 million watched from their living rooms around the world. And when Justin Bieber finally walked onto that Coachella stage, he was completely, painfully alone. No dancers, no band, no fireworks, no costume changes, just a boy in an oversized hoodie, a microphone, and a single laptop sitting on a stool beside him. And what happened next would split the internet in half and leave millions of longtime fans quietly wiping their eyes. To understand why this night mattered, you have to go back. Back to a boy of 13 from Stratford, Ontario, discovered on YouTube, signed by Usher and Scooter Braun, and handed the entire weight of the pop world before he ever went through puberty. He became a sensation overnight. He sold out stadiums before he could drive. He gave us Baby. He gave us Sorry. He gave us Beauty and a Beat. And somewhere along the way, he lost himself. There were the canceled tours, the health scares, the collapse a few years ago that ended his Justice World Tour, the years where people stopped talking about his music and started whispering about his appearance, his behavior, his marriage, his mental health. By the time he released his double album Swag last year, many wondered if the Justin Bieber we once knew was ever coming back. Coachella was supposed to be that answer, the biggest stage in pop music, the place where Beyoncé made history, where careers are reborn. Believers waited, the world waited. And then he walked out with a laptop. For the first 45 minutes, Bieber performed 11 tracks from Swag and Swag 2. It was decent. It was quiet. It was not the spectacle everyone expected, especially after Sabrina Carpenter had dazzled the same stage the night before with choreography, costume changes, and cameos from Susan Sarandon and Will Ferrell. Then, nearly an hour into the set, Justin stopped. He looked into the camera. He spoke softly. Tonight is such a special night, but I feel like we gotta take you guys on a bit of a journey. You guys remember this song? He sat down at the laptop. He opened YouTube. And on a giant screen visible to a crowd of over 100,000, he typed one word. Baby. The old music video began to play. And Justin Bieber, headliner of Coachella, simply sang along, sometimes quietly, sometimes mouthing the words, sometimes not singing at all, just watching himself, watching the 16-year-old kid on screen, watching who he used to be. For nearly 25 straight minutes, he did this. He searched favorite girl. He searched that should be me. He searched Beauty and a Beat. He even pulled up old home videos, including footage of himself as a toddler walking face first into a glass door. The crowd didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or leave. The internet exploded within minutes. Pop singer Zara Larsson posted a TikTok asking what on earth she had just watched. Critics called it lazy, disrespectful, an insult to fans who paid thousands to be there. Headlines declared it the most bizarre Coachella headlining set in history. His wife Hailey Bieber posted her reaction within hours. Just 2 words: so proud. Merch from that night started selling on eBay for hundreds of dollars. And here's what most people missed, because they were too busy laughing. The very next day, Justin Bieber's songs were streamed nearly 25 million times in a single day. 21 of his tracks entered Spotify's global top 200. He became the #1 artist in the world on Spotify overnight. His catalog surged more than 200% compared to the Sunday before. The Swag album jumped 80% on Apple Music in 24 hours. The man everyone called lazy had just delivered his biggest streaming day of the year. Because here's the truth the mocking headlines refuse to see. Justin Bieber didn't walk onto that stage to perform. He walked on to grieve, to confront, to sit in public with a boy he hadn't seen in over a decade and a half, the little kid who got discovered on YouTube, now a grown man typing his own name into YouTube in front of the world. When he watched baby Justin on that screen, he wasn't being lazy. He was looking at everything he lost, the childhood he never had, the innocence that fame ate alive, the years of panic attacks, Lyme disease, facial paralysis, canceled tours, and whispered rumors. He was saying, without saying it, I was that kid once, and I survived. The laptop wasn't a gimmick, it was a mirror. And for the fans who grew up with him, the ones who had Baby as their first ringtone, who cried when Purpose dropped, who prayed through his breakdowns, it wasn't a performance. It was a reunion. Quiet, imperfect, awkward, and real. Near the end of the night, Justin looked directly into the camera one more time. He shouted out his living room audience. The Coachella screens lit up with the live chat scrolling from fans around the world. Thousands of messages from people who had been waiting more than a decade to see him again. Some of them were now parents. Some were in college. Some had been barely 10 years old when Baby first came out. They weren't watching a headliner. They were watching a survivor. Coachella this year will be remembered for a lot of things. Sabrina Carpenter's old Hollywood spectacle, Karol G headlining the final day, Katsai bringing out the voices of K-pop demon hunters. But when the dust settles, one moment will outlive them all. A tired boy in a hoodie, sitting alone at a laptop, singing softly to a video of himself as a child, while the whole world argued about whether he was brilliant or broken. Maybe he was both. Maybe that was the point. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button. Because next time, we're telling you the story Hailey Bieber has never spoken about publicly until now.